Hey guys, just wondering, are you Team Eggshell or not? This year I'm trying to grow my garden with minimal amounts of added fertilizer in other than what was put in at plant out, unless it's natural forms like this, like I have in my direct composting that's out in the garden, already set up in the little buckets throughout the garden, which is super simple. You know, there's this whole thing about, there's kind of controversial about eggshells in the garden. The thing is I'm, I am totally team eggshell for the garden because here's my thoughts on it. Yes, I know that this technically is not going to help my soil this year. Maybe. Big maybe. So stick around and I'll tell you what my thoughts are on that big maybe, on a way that you can process it that it can help the garden this year. But back to that original thinking is, it's very discouraging when people say that it's not good for the garden, or it won't help, or not that it's not good for the garden, but it won't help the garden this year. Well, that's the key phrase right there at the very end, this year. The thing is when those of us that are focusing on building a living soil or interested in learning on how to build a living soil, things like eggshells is phenomenal for it because there is calcium, magnesium, trace minerals, probably way more stuff in here that I don't even know. And these are fresh eggs, so there's something that in my mind that just thinks that a fresh egg is probably more packed with these nutrients than the store-bought ones. I still use the store-bought ones when I get them, but right now we're very fortunate to get a bunch of fresh eggs from friends, and they're beautiful. Look at that. Look at that blue one right there. Again, it's pretty. Used to not be a fresh egg fan, but I am now because they taste so good. But back to the thinking on that is, if you don't start it now to help your garden, when are you going to start it? So it's very discouraging when people say that it's not going to help your garden, so it's not even worth doing. They'll throw it in the compost bin, but what if you don't have room for a compost bin? Because I don't. I use the little direct bucket systems that I have another video on showing that I do it, but I'm not dumping all my eggs in there. Dumping all the eggs in one basket. So anyway, sorry, that was a little cheese. But so what I do is I go ahead and I will dry these out days like today, which is sourdough baking day. After the oven is done baking that bread, I'll use that residual heat to dry these eggs right here, these eggshells. Otherwise, I like to pop them in my air fryer, low heat, for about 15 minutes or whatever, and they come out, of course, they come out really, really hot, so you gotta let them cool down. But then I'll pop them in my Ninja blender, and this thing right here, this Ninja blender, or the Ninja blender, will turn these into a fine, fine powder. Now, because remember when they say, the eggshells take time to break down into the garden? Well, I turn it into a powder, and look at that. I mean, that is literally powder form, leaves a coating. I also used to add it to my homemade cat food, for all the calcium, the nutrients, and all that. But my cats did not take to it very well. They're spoiled little brats, but that's another side note. But I do have some great recipes if anybody's looking for them. Anyway, the whole point of this is I'll get it ground down to this fine powder, and at plant out time, I put a scoop of it in with the tomatoes, pretty much any plant that I'm planting out. Then I'll either scatter it into the garden or on top of the garden, but the whole point is to get it into the garden. And if you just go by what others say about how it's not really beneficial to this year, so it's almost like, why do it? Well, I say do it. Today is June 10th. We've had, I think this is day 3, it said on the weather advisory, of intense heat. The plants have been doing really, really well. Already starting to bear fruit on several tomato plants. My little runner beans I saw 2 little beans. Plus I saw bees just going to town in the flowers and everything. And that's what I wanted to see. I noticed I had a little visitor in my eggplant planter, and he's a cute little toad, which I know he's doing his job as well, which tells me I'm doing my job, keeping that garden as organic as possible and building all that living soil, because it's bringing in the beneficial wildlife, insects. And yes, there is some hornets and wasps flying around. I'm trying really hard not to do anything to them. I'm not a fan of them, but I also realize that they are a part of the whole ecosystem and they're important to everything. So as long as they stay in their area, I'll stay in mine. And we'll all be good on that. But so back to the original part of this video. Are you Team Eggshell? And why? Alright, and like I said, today is June 10th, and again, here is my beautiful runner bean, pole bean right here, and look at that right there. We've got some action on the beans. I like to switch around my garden because a lot of them are on these trolley type things, you know, the garden stands with the wheels, and I like to do that because, well, you know, I'm never satisfied with the layout of the garden. So those help out quite a bit. And on this one, I just have 2 of them sitting underneath it. I really need to get out here and clean these pots off, but honestly, I'm not stressed over that. But update on my marigolds with the beans. I was worrying that they were not going to bloom. They're getting blossoms on them right there. No action still on those, so they're pretty much for the salad. But they're hanging in there in this heat. These guys are in the shade right now. The eggplants getting huge leaves. It's extremely hot today. This is day 3 of the warnings, the the humidity and heat temperature warnings and everything. And this is that large fruited cherry that I have in a 5-gallon bucket, and I'm trying to get in there. Yep, we've got some tomatoes right there, so I'm getting ready for them. I've been going around picking off my basil tops. Those were from the garden video that I had tons in the tomato plant out video. Well, I went ahead and potted quite a few of them up, and I've just been taking the tops off of them. My mint did not make it. See, it's, yeah, all dried up, crispy. So now I've got 2 containers right here that I'm gonna do something with. I haven't decided yet what it is I want to put there. Probably parsley. We're not gonna look over there because that's just the hangout area of drying the pots and stuff. But look at those cucumbers in that cucumber playpen. They're still hanging in there. I did fill up the water reservoir in that city picker right there. So hopefully after it does its thing, and I may pull it into the shade here in a little while. Again, the wheels on these things are really, really nice. My black-eyed Susans are about to bloom. They've got tiny little blooms everywhere. These tomatoes right here, my Romas. Yep, that's what you see right there. And then I discovered an interesting thing, which some of these plants aren't doing so well down here. This is that Royal Burgundy. It's supposed to be a bush bean. It looks like a vine to me. So I don't know. I may be pulling them because there's really nowhere for them to go. And I am not going to compromise these tomato plants that are doing really, really well. And they are hanging in there with this heat. My cosmos are starting to bloom. So my pretty. And I got a nasturtium. And I'm going to be cutting this down to make some greens probably today, which kind of makes me sad because look how healthy it is. But it'll bounce back. My cilantro is hanging in there. It has not bolted yet. I'm hoping it will not bolt, but I'm hoping to pick it as I go to make sure that it won't bolt. And then I have some marigolds. I put some marigolds in there. So that's the greens. Again, here is some more of those Cosmos bright lights. They're doing really good. I have a marigold that is blooming right there as well. And this is a, it's called an African daisy. I can't remember now if it was a seed packet I got from the Dollar Tree, but it's very interesting. I've never grown this type before, and so I'm kind of eager to see how it turns out. Here is more of the Cosmos, doing really, really well considering I've never had any luck with them before. And they're just looking good. So I'm ready for all these blooms right here. And back here on these tomatoes, I have some action as well. These are the Chadwick cherry. And this is my solution to the trellising system right here. I went ahead and I'm tying these to the boards of the fence to help keep these, because these are indeterminate, so they're going to get quite large. And I mean, this is for what, a month from when plant out was. I did it Mother's Day weekend. I actually think it was Mother's Day, and they have grown immensely. I'm still waiting on some fruiting on these delicious tomatoes, but they're looking good. Some of the blooms are drying up, but that's to be expected in the heat. But then I have a bunch of others that are blooming. My zini bed is doing pretty good. My zini bed's doing pretty good. I should have put more in, but that's okay. Maybe I'll pop some beans in there. There's another one of those African daisies, which they are slightly struggling with seeds. More zinnias, doing good. These beans back here seem to be doing okay. Some more basil that I thinned down. These are my little composting buckets. As you can see, I have one of those coffee can ones back there. And I keep one in. I just put the vegetation that I'm thinning out in the garden because I believe every garden should recycle itself. So I keep little bins like these all over, and I put leaves and a little tree thing that I broke down. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found something in here either to be entertaining or informative, or I don't know, maybe you're just bored. And I am definitely Team Eggshell, and so I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on these beautiful eggs and what they do for our garden.